know people are starting to get on. Good afternoon or good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Monday Night Rewind. Lewis here with Top Row Racing Media. We got Buju to the side of me here with Buju Bullring Chronicles, and I know just entering the stage, we have Big Perm from U93. He'll be coming on shortly, so we'll bring him on about 7:05, but he's already in the staging area. So I definitely need everyone to check in, tell us where you're from, put comments in the put questions and everything in the comments, check in, like, share, get this out there, especially we're covering a lot tonight. We have the South Bend Auto Show coming up this weekend. I know Kalamazoo Speedway will be there, but I'm also helping the group with their social media this week, so I'm excited for that, and I'll have a lot of hours in there, maybe not as many hours as they will, but I'll have a lot of hours there, helping with that. So obviously with Kalamazoo being there, I know Russell's M40 Speedway will be there. New Paris Speedway has representation. So from a racetrack standpoint, I know Rich Bull's going to be there. He reached out earlier with his Outlaw late model. So again, I just know from race car side, there's a lot, but obviously the show's a lot bigger. And when I was talking with Pam Mason yesterday on the way back from Kalamazoo, and we were talking about the podcast and everything, like a reminder, I said, this show's a gem. I mean, for $10, it's a steal. And but the group is being very mindful of costs and the economy. So just know at other shows and other places it could be $15-$20. So definitely for $10. But I'm not going to steal Big Perm's thunder. I'm going to let him do all that because he knows what he's doing. He does radio all the time. So I'll let him take all that thunder. And then we have Matt Kemp who'll be on at 7:30, and he just tagged in a story on his page that he has some big news coming up. So I'm excited because I don't know, right? So, some big news that we'll be breaking here with Matt Kemp, and his dwarf car was in the show in 2023, right at the entrance when people walked in. So, he's quite familiar with the South Bend Auto Show too. So again, guys, check in, let us know where you're from. Again, like the podcast as it's going, share it out, let people know that we're live. And just as a reminder, if you miss it or someone who's not on social media, and there's quite a few people who aren't on social media nowadays, not only is it on YouTube, but then after the show I download it, put it on Spotify, and then it disperses out to Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and then iHeartRadio. So, and those are just audio versions. Speaking of New Paris, we were talking about New Paris having representation. Tabitha just jumped in, so the Angry Unicorn will be there, and her car will be right next to the Kalamazoo display. So we'll have Kalamazoo, Tyler Hufford, Bryce Bozell, Drew Ritter will have his late model there. And then we have Carter Trudgeon, who's making a 2.5-hour drive down to bring his modified. So we have, and then Mason Metzger will have his template late model there. Then we'll have Tabitha right next to us with her Night of Destruction car that people can see at New Paris 7 times a year. So again, lots of cars, lots of things. So Buju, how's your weekend before we bring Big Perm on?
It was good. Nice weather over the weekend. Turned cold on Sunday. We got some stuff done in our shop, and I'm mostly fired up for the auto show this weekend. First little taste of racing.
Oh yeah,
for the year.
Well, and some of these cars, I seen what they're doing with them, and I'm like, okay, it's time to go. And being at the racetrack on Saturday, we had the Russell's M40 Speedway Enduro with the Tipsy Leprechaun and the Sauce Shamrock. So they're some good hits. The wall definitely painted in some spots, but and I know they're going to be doing a cleanup day at Russell's M40 Speedway coming up over in Jones, Michigan. So definitely fans of that, watch for that. But with that Enduro being at the racetrack, it's like, okay, it's time. It's time to do this. It's time to jump in. And, the weather was very different yesterday. I drove to Kalamazoo and the temperature dropped as I went. And I'm like, I wanted to stay around and do a little bit more. And I went, I'm signing out. Plenty of hours coming up in a couple weeks here. So, again, for Kalamazoo drivers, I know it's a double duty day. If you're looking to do double duty, where you can go to Kalamazoo and practice and then try to rush over to M40 on April 11th. But the first practice session at Kalamazoo is April 11th, and then Russell's M40 Speedway's first official race program is also April 11th with the Ohio Wheelman Super Stocks, and then the Midwest Dirt will be racing on the asphalt there, so that's a little different. And then the Crown Vics, which will be a Hartford Speedway Dirt and Russell's M40 Speedway asphalt, combined kind of deal. So any rules at any track apply to that. And I know Ron Brash will be pulling people in from Mount Lawn Speedway down in Indiana too. So it's almost time. So you ready to talk about the auto show?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's bring on Big Perm. So again, Big Perm, I know you jumped on, and I definitely appreciate you taking time this evening to talk with us. Welcome to the Monday Night Rewind.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It's an honor.
Oh no, absolutely. That's where I was telling Pam yesterday. I said I fell in love with the show in 2023 when I went there for the first time. I had never been to the South Bend Auto Show, and I'm like, we got to get Kalamazoo in here. So our first appearance was in 2024, and every year I'm like, this is this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
We appreciate the team that you guys have. So for people who are watching who may not know who Big Perm is, right? And what you do with the radio stations. I see a U93 right behind you. So if you want to give a little bit of your background and how long you've been in radio, what got you into radio, then we'll dive into this auto show.
Yeah, sure. So I've been in the radio and do a little bit of TV as well. So I went to college. People always kind of ask, did you just like get out of high school and you just went to work in radio? I wish. Went to college for radio and television broadcasting and graduated a little early. And I've always wanted to have like a real, the sexiest resume, so to speak, when you get it and you're like, wow, what can't this person, not do? So I studied business, marketing, radio, TV broadcasting, journalism, just everything from on the mic to off the mic. So did it all. I'm originally from the Detroit, Michigan area, which has the North American International Auto Show. So a lot of people weren't familiar with that. So when we brought that here to Michiana, I was like, oh my God, that's so big in Michigan and people come from all over the world from it. So I was like, oh, this event is going to be huge. So I've been in radio for just short of 20 years. I got in pretty young at about 19 after graduating and made my rounds from Detroit to Toledo to Bowling Green and wound up here in Michiana. Got hired as the night show in August of 2014 and did that for 4.5 years, then was on the morning show for a year or two, back on nights, and I've been the afternoon drive host from 2 to 7 p.m. since like COVID, so probably 5 or 6 years now.
Oh, wow. And I know your stuff comes across social media all the time. I follow the page a few years ago, obviously going to the show, and I see Big Perm, Big Perm, Big Perm. And then even on your page, you're holding puppies today and you had flowers, and then all your questions of if someone came into your room, and I follow what you do. And I'm like, man, this is just entertaining, right? Like it's something that as many people go over to, like Sirius XM and that kind of deal, right? It's like, man, we have so much talent still in the local market that, and I'm guilty as charged too, where, I listen to Busted Open Radio when I'm in the car. I don't usually listen to music or something, but, I still follow, my area is Midwest Family Broadcast with, the coast and all that. And so being in Bridgman, Michigan. So that's, I get them, but it's like, I still follow the local talent because you're local, right? You're here in the community.
Yep. Yeah. No, I got XM in my car, I'll be honest. And that it keeps you hungry. People always cringe when I say that, but it kind of makes you think like you see what's out there. So, I don't always listen to top 40. I'll be honest. I'm a closet rock fan and boy band fan. And we incorporate that a lot on U93, but it's not nonstop like you would get with an XM or Spotify. So I kind of do study and what are they doing that we're not, So honestly, when I'm not on the radio 2 to 7 every day, I'm like a student of the game and I'll find, Pandora and Spotify and XM and just see, all right, what are they doing that's better, if anything? And honestly, I don't always like what I hear. The only positive I think is like the fact that, the commercials, which is what pays the radio station, but the Spotify I got, I don't have the upgraded one. I guess I'm the cheap one, but that plays commercials. So It's like, So I figure out, all right, how can I keep you, the consumer who maybe is driving with the kids in the car, and how do I keep you all entertained, something clean that everyone can listen to? Because if the kids like it, they're usually running the radio, right? Mom, Dad, turn this on. So how do I get the whole car liking me, listening to me? Let's be honest, you're always on your phone, right?
Right.
Kind of what you said. So what you just said about having the topics and all that, maybe you don't hear me from 2 to 7. I got a whole nother radio show going on online where you can come into the show and feel like you're participating and you weren't even listening to me. And you'll go, oh, wow, maybe I'll tune in tomorrow or something. So mind freaking you.
Well, even with the mixes that you're doing, where you're like, listen to the beats that are coming up, and and just that little bit again, it's that creativity that and it looks like you're having fun while you're doing it too. So that's something that again, obviously with Frank Gasco, he's big in the racing scene, and being friends with him and following his career and what he does. Right, it's like there's just so much talent, and I just see what you do on social media. So again, just good job on that, because it's always loading in my feed. So you're doing something right if I'm seeing it all the time.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, no, you're welcome. But I know you're here to talk about the auto show. And so you talked about your experience with the Detroit Auto Show and bringing that here. So what do you think, for people who may go to Detroit and see just how humongous it is, right? Because it is international and you got just cars everywhere.
Yep.
What's comparable, when they experience it at South Bend, and then what makes maybe South Bend unique where, yep, that's international, it has all these things, but here's what makes our show special.
It's more interactive. So who wants to go to a show and we're looking, it's eye candy. It's real nice, but you got to walk past it. You can't touch it. You can't get real close. There's millions of people there. It's just more interactive. There are so many cars, and the owners sometimes are in a lawn chair right next to it, and will let you take a picture with it and get interactive. So maybe you have the kids or the wife or significant other who's maybe not a grease monkey or not into the cars, and they're like, oh, we make it so that we have fun for everyone. So not only can you, the car lover, or your kids or something, a lot of the owners are really cool and let you take a picture or get in it or get real interactive. So and you can get real close. You're not going to be roped off, or there's not going to be any security or anything like that. So it's a very interactive experience where you could probably touch the car like this. You're so close instead of from afar, like, oh, wow, that's the new Corvette over there, huh? And you got a million people in front of you. Maybe you're not tall enough. Nope. You're within touching distance of every single car.
Well, I know this year Pam said that, we're packing them in, and, probably even took a few more cars than what they usually would do, knowing that every year, right, some cars just aren't going to make it, things go on. But I said, well, what if they all show up this year?
Yeah. Right.
Oh, we'll figure it out. Right. And so again, that's something that, I know, at least in Racer Alley is what I call it, in the back corner there, where, we have drivers who put kids in the cars and taking pictures, and that just goes such a far ways. But then I have a lot of people, because I go around and I try to get a picture of every car, even though I'm there for the racing and I'm there with Kalamazoo. I'm like, I'm here. I have 41,000 followers this year. Last year's, 25. It's like, how can we leverage that to, in racing, we call it butts and seats. How can we get feet in the building? How can we maybe get people to come and say, oh, I got to go check out that car, right? Or, man, look at everything that is there. And so I've made a lot of connections with people at the show too, who every year we start, we see each other, and it's like catching up, it's like a reunion in a way. So again, it's people in the community who work at Martin's, who work at the dealership around the corner, or that car you'll see driving down the road maybe, right? So we're international.
Baby.
Yeah, right. You just maybe not have that personal connection, where here it's like there's that personal touch, that personal connection. And I know just the philosophy of the show, $10 to get in, even though building rentals are not cheap, that Century Center is not cheap, building rentals and all that. So if you want to give people a little bit of a breakdown, I do have a banner going across the way, but just in case people aren't reading that verbally, show costs, show time, and if you want to give a breakdown of the kind of cars that people will see at the auto show this year.
Absolutely. Yep. So just walk on up right to the Century Center in South Bend. Well, myself and A lot of the U93 staff will be actually working the front door. So you just walk right up. You'll get your tickets right there with us. It is $10. And we say bring all ages. It's fun for all ages. So the kids 12 and under are actually free. So I was saying we make it fun for the kiddos as well. They're free, 12 and under, $10 for adults. And we appreciate the veterans and the seniors love the cars. So we have a discount for them. So it is $5 for military, and seniors 65 and over are just $5. So walk up. We'll take care of you there. Get you right in. It'll actually be cars. When I say wall to wall, upstairs, downstairs on the radio, literally when you walk in, there'll probably be a NASCAR style, whether it's a Tony Stewart or a Jeff Gordon, right behind you as you're walking in. So you can kind of do a nice little eye candy as you're standing there waiting. So there's cars literally as you start, and then we have it in the room next to the ticket window, so you're not traveling very far to see your first set of cars. Then you'll hit the main room and downstairs. So it's jam-packed wall to wall. So everybody come on out. We're going to be out there literally all day on Saturday, 9 a.m. We are starting it up bright and early, and a lot of people get there even earlier. So early bird gets the worm. You come 8:45. It's going to happen. So we'll be there, get you in. We just want you having a day of fun, and we appreciate you coming out. So 9 a.m. start, goes till 7 p.m. on Saturday. And if you can't make it out Saturday, all good. Be there again all day Sunday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So come on out there, and it's going to be for the car lovers. And then, like I was saying, not everybody's cup of tea. You want to bring the kids. There's going to be a kids zone. So that is going to be inflatables. There was like a Velcro, axe throwing there last year. Some, the inflatables so they can jump around. There will be a movie room. So that'll be showing kids movies, popcorn, complimentary popcorn in there. So the kiddos will be able to jump around on that. Inflatable obstacle courses as well. So it'll be a room. Very big room down there, downstairs in the corner. It's a very big room there. So you can walk past the main floor down there, see some cars while you're heading to the kids zone. And you can go in that room, jump around, tucker them out, check out the movie. It'll be kids' movies, car-related one, probably the movie Cars. Okay. So it'll be all car-related movies for you in there, going with the festivities. So kids can have that if, they're not into checking out the cars or they just want to take a little break. Then we're also going to have the Man Cave. It's March Madness time, as we know. So those games will be kicking off Sweet 16 on Friday and Saturday. So we'll have a Man Cave as you're coming down the stairs directly to the left. That'd be the Man Cave room. So there'll be some nice couches in there, big screens, a bar, and very spaced out, some bar tables you can stand on and lean on. So we'll have that for whoever would like to check on the games while you're there. If you don't want to check it out on your phone, you can see it in person. And maybe the fellows want to do some shopping. There are going to be some vendors as well. We're going to have a swap meet. So a lot of car-related things, whether that is little Hot Wheel cars. Those are big right now, and sports cards, and whether it's car parts or car detailing. So everything car related, we are going to have in the swap meet as well. So do a little shopping.
All right. There you go, Buju. You got the Hot Wheels going right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I bought some diecast at South Bend Auto Show for sure.
Nice. Yep. So fun for everyone. Yep. And trying to hit all the bases and check all the boxes.
Yep. Well, and it just sounds like cars, and more cars, whether it's a virtual car watching on the movie or, jumping through, obstacle with your Hot Wheel cars or seeing the big cars. I know dragsters will be there. And I mean, there's so many things that, again, I tell people that for $10, you're just not going to find a show like, this quality should be more, right? And it's just, the radio station who runs it being very mindful of, economy is tough for people. We get that. I see Tina Lewis is asking for like classic cars. So if you want to give people an idea of, again, for $10, like the cars you see, the quality of cars you're going to see here is a steal. So if you want to give a rundown, like I see, she works at Kalamazoo. Lawnmowers I know will be there, but what kind of classic cars will people see? What even kind of new cars might people see? What's kind of general classes that people will see?
So we try to hit every decade. So I'm talking Model T, early 1900s. Like I'm going through the aisles, and that main room upstairs is usually where the older ones are. So I'd say the heart of the show, man, the upstairs and downstairs, it's a toss up which one's cooler. But downstairs, you're going to get more the monster trucks and the sports cars. Upstairs, I've found that is going to be, I call it almost like the decade room. Those are the ones where you're going to go, whoa, like this is like a 1920s car. There's some of them that have, there's a car that comes every year that has like autographs and like writing on it. And I'm not talking about cars that are, there will be a lot of beautiful cars and stuff, but there's a lot of very custom cars. There's a gentleman that comes every year that is a veteran and has like soldiers sign it and do nice messages. So a lot of these have like writing on the cars, and you go, whoa, I've never seen a car with autographs and signatures and calligraphy on it. So everything from 1920s, 30s, old school cars that used to go to the drive-ins. So a lot of 1950s and 60s, heavies on that. Then you get into the more beautiful newer cars. So you're going to go, as you were talking about, the sports cars in one area. Then you get the dragsters that are 20, 30 feet long in the corner there against the wall. But I'd say in the middle as you walk in, you're going to go down decade lane where you're going, whoa. And they'll have, a lot of them have biographies on the cars, little info. So you can go, wow, 1924 Model T. What? Over 100 years old, and a lot of old school cars, hoods, pops. So I'd say you're going to hit everything from 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Get those nice cars from the movies and the Grease Lightning, and everything from, the beautiful 80s, 90s hot rods to today. So the brand new, sleek, sexy Camaro, Mustangs. I'm a big Hummer guy, so I like the Hummers. Get some old school Humvees, some newer ones, some monster trucks, and I'm a bright color guy as well. So a lot of unique colors. These are not going to just be a boring black car. You're going to see custom paint jobs where you go, whoa, never seen that before. I mean, these cars are these people's life, their hobby. And they don't always take it out too much. They're so beautiful. This is the one or two times a year that they bring it out. They work on it all year round, custom paint jobs, and they're always working on it. So it's getting bigger and better every year, and beautiful paint jobs, wax jobs, and they bring it out to show out just for this show. So if I had to categorize, you're going every year from 1920 to going to be cars that are hitting the market this year that maybe you haven't seen on the scene just yet, that they're looking to unveil this weekend. Like this is the 2026 or the 2027 that hasn't even hit the stores yet or hit the dealerships. And here it is at the South Bend Auto Show for you.
Well, I know because there's the one dealership for sure that's usually down on the main floor by the Riverwalk area kind of deal, that they usually have a lot of showing. And I think that's where even a Cybertruck was last year. That's where a lot of like motorcycles are. I mean, a lot of motorcycles are downstairs, and then lawnmowers, were around the corner there. So it's like that downstairs is just unique in itself because you have all these different, it's like a almost like a box of chocolates. I try to equate it to, like, you just don't know what you're going to get once you get onto the floor, but you're going to be amazed whatever aisle you're in. So like you're just gonna get it all. But I mean, usually when you guys come down the stairs, for people who've been there or haven't been there yet, I mean, when you come down, like, bam, motorcycle, bam, new, fresh cars, some still classic cars down there, but a lot of, I know, dealerships down there and that kind of deal. So I always look forward to the Bigfoot group, because I go around and I see the Bigfoot mascot right there. I'm like, that's my kind of car, and they're usually by the Russells. And I'm like, that's just like a perfect combination. Russells and 40 Speedway being right next to the Bigfoot is like, that's just perfect. Right. And so I always look forward to that too. So again, I know our time is running low here. So if you want to do one more reminder for people on show times, prices, and just kind of recap. And obviously, I'll share this on the South Bend Auto Show page. If it hasn't been shared yet already, I'll probably share it over and say preview. And I know tomorrow you're on, is it Hometown? Or maybe that's Brad. I can't remember who's going to be doing that.
Hometown Living, probably somebody in the building. Yeah, probably Brad King from 97.7 or Classic Rock Station.
Yes. So again, if you want to do a rundown and what people can expect, again, and it's not pre-sale tickets. So if you got people who are online saying, well, I have tickets available, I can't make it, that's not the case. So just to put that disclaimer out there,
Walk up.
Pre-sale. You get them at the door, and if it's cash only or card too, we didn't cover that, and I almost forgot that part. So again, one more rundown.
Yep. So short and sweet, all the above. So we cover all of that. So we'll just start from the top here. It's going down this Saturday and Sunday. So big. We're doing it 2 days. Going to be out at the Century Center there in South Bend. Just walk on up. Be $10 at the door. Kids 12 and under are free. We're doing a military and senior 65 and up discount. That's going to be just $5. Now, I'm going to give you a little word to the wise, little VIP sneak peek just on this channel. The Century Center does charge a couple of dollars for parking. Yeah. So sometimes, I get it. Like you said, we're all trying to cost efficient. There's a lot of garages right across the street around the Century Center. So if you do not want to pay for parking, the garages, street parking, all free on the weekend. So save you $5 there if you'd like, but Century Center got plenty of parking. So if you're going, oh my God, the lot is full, because this is going to be a big show this weekend. We grow every year, and we pump in probably close to 15,000 over the 2 days. So the lot might be full. Just park across the street. There's literally garages, not a far walk at all. So, park in the parking lot, but there'll definitely be room. So, so just word to the wise on that, but walk on up. We're working the door, $10 you're in. Kids 12 and under, they'll have a blast. They're free. Military, $5. Seniors, 65 and up, $5. Get you right in for a day of fun. We're going to have a kid zone, so fun for the kids, movies, inflatables, fun activities, forums. Going to be a man cave for the fellas. Need a little break in the action, little drink, alcohol, non-alcoholic. There'll be a bar there. There are concessions as well there downstairs. So you want some snacks, we got plenty of that for you. Snacks, meals, all that. So we'll have the NCAA tournament games. If you're worried if your team's playing, we got them on the TVs, the big screens. We got couches if you need to sit down for a minute. Got it all there. It's going to be a swap meet as well. So a lot of vendors that are car related and some that are not, just want to sell their stuff. I was talking with a vendor who makes neon like signs, just really cool. So you could, something you could put in the car or in the bedroom or something. That's really cool. And that's actually a kid run based business. He's like 15 or 16. So I'm excited to see that. So we'll have that. A lot of vendors, do some shopping for the car, for life, whatever. We're going to have a movie room as well, car related movies for the kids. So they can chill in there, complimentary popcorn and all that. Let's see. We take cash and card. We do it all. So you want to swipe it, tap it, got it. Cash, got it. $100 bills, got it. Got change, whatever you want to bring. Just bring yourselves. Come on down. We'll handle the rest. We got fun for all ages. We've been doing this many years, and we make it more accommodating. And we just want to see you and make sure you have a good time. And $10, pretty good for, as long as you want to stay in. And like you said, no pre-sale tickets. The Century Center is very big, very spacious. So yes, it's going to be very busy, but there are so many cars and we'll have them in every room that it honestly is pretty well spaced out. You're never going to be in an awkward elbow to elbow, body to body. We're not going to be in there like cattle. I don't know how it works because there's definitely thousands of people, but for some reason there's always room and space and everybody's going into a different area at a different time. So very well spaced. Don't worry about that. Just come on down, check out hundreds of the coolest cars, trucks, motorcycles, dune buggies, but every kind of ride you can imagine. And there's going to be rides there that you probably didn't even know existed. Like you said, lawnmowers. Who knew those could have a Hemi in them and have a crazy uniqueness and paint jobs and the best of the best from Michiana, Chicago, Michigan, Indy. Everybody's coming to the South Bend Auto Show this weekend to show off their babies that they work on all year round. So hopefully that hit it all.
Oh yeah, and you cover concessions, so it's like that's another check mark. And then for any further information, I know southbendautoshow.com has all that going on too. But even when you mentioned parking, that was one thing that kind of escaped my head. And I'm like, oh, I should probably somewhat put that on social media. Obviously we probably, Century Center probably wouldn't want to be like, hey, you can't like tell people not to park here, which none of us did that, right? But like to be mindful, like, hey, this lot probably will get full, because I know at some point it usually does get full over the weekend, usually in the afternoon, early evening, at least on Saturdays. But hey, the parking garage, it's just right down there and it's not that far of a walk, and the weather looks like it's supposed to be decent. I know last year it was raining, but this year it looks like it's going to be pretty decent. So again, downtown South Bend is the place to be this weekend. I'll share this on the page once we're off and make sure that it's there ready to go so people can watch back and see. Again, Big Perm, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening tonight to not only give us a little bit of an introduction to who you are for people who may not know, and especially being a local talent in this area and everything you've done, and then going over the South Bend Auto Show that's coming up this weekend. So again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you guys so much for having me, and I can't wait to see you guys this weekend. You coming out?
Oh yeah, I'll be there Thursday all day, Friday all day, Saturday all day, Sunday all day. I told Pam Mason, use me how you wish. So
can't wait. Well, hopefully I'll see you guys there and introduce myself in person.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll be at Kalamazoo booth most of the time too. So if I'm not running around, doing pictures and all that, I'll be at the Kalamazoo booth in I call it Racers Backstretch, because it's all race cars on that side. So
okay, you'll be upstairs. Nice.
Yep. Well, I don't know how to ever describe that corner. I'm like, the river's like out the door. Like you
perfect.
Usually a super fancy car roped off right there where I'm like, okay, don't touch, but I want to get a picture of the river really quick, but I'm like, don't hit the car, don't hit the car, don't hit the car, don't hit the car. Like, because they're tight. So again, thank you so much, Big Perm, and we'll see you this weekend.
Thank you guys so much. Can't wait to see you.
Oh, absolutely. All right. So again, South Bend Auto Show this weekend, cannot go wrong with that whatsoever. For people to be there, it's just an incredible show. So again, I just so appreciate Big Perm coming on and joining us tonight to talk about that. But now we have Matt Kemp, who teased us a little bit. I saw the post, so let me pull in Matt Kemp here from Matt Kemp Racing. So again, Matt, thank you for coming in and joining us tonight. But you put a little teaser out there, so we don't have to do it right at the top of you getting on. But welcome to the Monday Night Rewind.
Oh, thanks, guys. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here. You didn't tell me that I was going to have to follow Big Perm. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that, but appreciate you bringing me on anyway.
Well, I just kind of think, when I asked you about this, it makes me think sometimes of the Ron Brash video a few years ago where you were saying, let's see if I can manage to somehow put an interview together, and not look awkward while doing it. And then to see, just obviously you're someone who parks in Victory Lane quite often. So you've gotten used to doing a lot of interviews. And I know when you won at South Bend, that was kind of early, where you're just starting to get that groove going. But certainly since then, you've had a lot of practice in Victory Lane and making all your moments on Flow Racing and Racing America and all these other channels. So again, that's just exciting to see how your career, has come along, where now you're on a podcast and you're going to be able to talk to, a couple hundred, 1,000 people over the course of a episode. So again, I appreciate you taking time, and you're not coming off of the Motor State to just distributing show at Lane Automotive, where that was just a lot. So for people who don't know who you are, which they should know who you are, but let's say they don't. Who's Matt Kemp? How long have you been racing? What have you raced? Because you've done a lot of it, and then just your background in general.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned South Bend a few years ago. That was so kind of go back a little bit further. I started racing mini cup cars back in 2013, 2014. Won my first feature race in 2013 in the mini cups, and that's when I started my Taco Bell tradition. So we'll run through that real quick. But moved into dwarf cars later on, and took me a couple years to kind of get. We were just running from Eric Hoffman and the folks at the MCR dwarf cars, and man, I can't say enough about that series and how awesome it is, and how big of a deal that series was in my development as a driver, but also as a person, and loved every single moment that I've had the opportunity to be with that series, and I still do. So obviously we were fortunate to start doing a little bit of winning with them, and it was always my dream to kind of to jump into the NASCAR ranks, like it is for so many out there. And never thought in a million years I'd get my shot, but I knew from a young age that if I wanted to go do it, I was going to have to figure out how to do some marketing. And because we did not have the pocketbook to do it, we did not have the pocketbook to race mini cups. So it was one of those deals where I was going to have to figure something out. And fortunately, I spent a lot of time working on it. I went to Lake Michigan College to get my associate's degree. Went to Siena Heights University, where I finished out my bachelor's in business administration, actually with the concentration in marketing. But have spent a lot of time working on the marketing side of things, and fortunately, that kind of paid off. And I had a team owner, Andy Hillenberg, give me an opportunity when I gave him a call to go and do some ARCA races. So we've been fortunate enough to be able to put together a few really good runs with them, and last year was really great. Obviously qualified on the front row at Flat Rock. Got the sweet move of the race that race, and ended up with the top 5 finish, which was a good day. But we ended up with our first national top 10 finish at Berlin later in the year. So finished on the lead lap in both races. When you're racing against the Gibbs guys, I'd say that's an accomplishment in itself. So I was super stoked with how everything went last year, and just got a ton of hope and confidence going into this year. If we can make something happen and get to the racetrack, that we can have some good days. So that's a long-winded answer to your statement of who I am. That's kind of the path I've taken to get to where I'm at right now.
Hey, well, that works. And I think, I know how to get into ARCA. Some drivers have posted about it on social media, where there's sometimes some struggles and controversy and how it's done, and buying rides and that kind of deal. So we necessarily don't have to get all into deep into that. But if you want to give a background of what does it take for you, to get into ARCA, and how does that, and if you don't want to, we don't have to, right? Because like I said, I know on social media sometimes that's people just take that and it's a whole thing. But for people to really understand like what you're having to do as a driver to even get that opportunity to go and do that, having to get your own sponsors and your own partnerships just to get a ride, that takes a lot, right? Because you're trying to get sponsors, and some may say no, and you're like, okay, well, we're like $5,000 short right now of making this happen, but we're so close at the same time. So if you want to give a little bit of a background of what it takes to get in that ARCA ride.
Yeah, definitely. I get asked all the time about kind of what it takes, because there's a lot of people, like I said, that have aspirations to get to that level, and it really is the 4th rung in the NASCAR ladder. So I know as much as people talk about it, it really is like a prestigious series, and with a very storied history, and a lot to it. Obviously, things have changed, and the world's a lot different place nowadays, and finances seem to be a lot harder to come by when it comes to the racing thing. So understandable that we're kind of in the position we're in, but I get asked all the time about how in the world do I even get into it? Because if it was someone like myself, I would never have thought that it was even a remote possibility in any stretch of the imagination. So a lot of people try to jump straight into it. You'll see a lot of drivers kind of jump in, influencers, whoever. I mean, there's some great examples as of late who try to jump in, and some are better than others, obviously. And but you have a lot of examples of guys who just don't have a racing background who are like, I want to go race on national TV. And hey, you know what? It takes dollars, man. And if you got them, congrats, buddy. You got it. You're in. But for a lot of the grassroots racers who started out racing and are trying to make a living out of racing, ironically, it's harder for them than it is for somebody who has no experience, right? So at the same time, you can still make a lot of connections, and knowing people goes a long way. So kind of when you come up through the ranks and are good to people, and don't make enemies, and or at least make few enemies. Try not to make enemies, I guess. But I highly recommend whoever's trying to get there. I always tell everybody that I highly recommend spending a lot of time in the grassroots divisions, because a lot of times that is more competitive. I want to say to some extent. Whereas the cars are closer, and you can learn so much. You can learn so much racing at these local short tracks, like in whatever series it is. And that's why I talk so highly of the Midwest Classic Racers dwarf cars. Man, that series is just such a hoot to drive. And I mean, the cars are crazy. You go to a place like Berlin and you're almost flat out, but you're still running like pretty good lap times. So you're flying around those kinds of places, and you're inches apart with the guys around you, because it's just such a competitive series, and it's hard to stay competitive with them. But you learn so much more at that point. And when you get to this next step of getting to the ARCA level, you hopefully make a lot less mistakes and are able to showcase your abilities at a higher level. I think there's a lot more risk to jumping straight into it than there is to learning at the lower levels. But again, it just takes money, wherever you got it. If I had somebody walk up to me tomorrow and told me, here's $100,000, you can go Xfinity racing, I mean, I'm going to take it. I'm going to be like, well, it's not going to go very well because I don't have very much experience to be in that position, but we're going to send it because we got the money to do it, right? So I don't blame anybody for doing something like that.
If you crash, you're just doing what the rest of them do. So,
Hey, it happens, man. It's part of racing. It's part of racing.
They purposely take each other out, right? You watch that Daytona and you're like, I can go watch a Buju. This is no offense to front wheel drive racing, but I can go watch a C feature front wheel drive do that, right? For much less money, and sometimes they're actually far better races too, by the way. So it goes both ways, but it's like, if I didn't want to watch crashing, right? But so that you could just say, well, hey, I'll go figure it out. We might run out the tires like Days of Thunder and just have a lot of things go wrong, but opportunity, right? Because you just never know. So
that's exactly right.
So when you think about, the dwarf cars, we had Eric Hoffman on a few weeks ago, right? And then, and with your ARCA time, what do you kind of notice when it comes to building team and resources? What are some of the differences there?
Well, for myself, at least, I can't speak for everyone else, but for myself, I'm able to do the dwarf car thing on my own. So leading up until about 2022, I was racing pretty much with my dad. My dad and I kind of had, for a while, like I said, I rented from Eric and them, and they have an awesome rental program. So if you have any interest in getting into racing, have no idea how to do it, MCR is a great place to start. And I would get in touch with Eric on the rental side. He has some awesome stuff, great opportunities. I did set a track record in one of his rental cars, so they're good cars.
Wow.
And we did that. That's the 1A at South Bend, Lewis. That's when we were having those.
Yes.
The interview with Ron Varash over there. So that was an awesome car. It's still racing. It's he's beat me in it. It's weird to watch it sometimes when I had such a connection to that car. It's like, well, now it beat me. So, but I've also beat it a few times. So we've had fun either way. But I'm losing the plot here. I don't even know where I'm going talking about.
Well, you're just talking about beating people. So, people, right? You're doing a little flex. No, I'm kidding. But kind of like, what does it take to build a team, right? So you're talking about the rental program and how you really got to there, and that's an opportunity, right? And there's a lot of car owners. So go from there.
Got it. Thank you. We're back. Yeah. So on the dwarf car side, I worked kind of with my dad after I got my own car. We ran for the championship in 2022, and then he had actually moved out of the state. So in 2023, I was kind of on my own for the most part, and really super fortunate throughout the year to have people literally just jump in. I know my racetrack brother Doug came to the track a lot of times, and we just had so many people within the series even help us out if we ever had a problem or something go wrong or anything. But for the most part, during the week, setting the car up, changing all my tires out, making sure everything was right, kind of running that on my own. You can kind of do it on your own if you have to, right? You don't necessarily want to. It's more fun with other people, but if you need to do it on your own, you can. And then you get to the ARCA level with the resources and everything that you need there. If everybody's got their roles, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. For the lower budget teams, you might see some guys jump out of the car and change their own tires, and then you see some guys who just show up to the track and the crew's already got the car ready to go and everything. It's crazy looking at the difference of each level and budgets make a really big difference as well. So that's one of the things I love about MCR, man. I can just take my own car out there. I can set it up on my own. I can jump in and just race it. And there's no radios in the dwarfs either. So that's another thing. That's a really big difference. I don't have anybody yelling at me to not do anything stupid. I can make that decision all on my own.
Well, and that's something that, again, watching just how you evolved in the dwarf series, where you're first starting to, all of a sudden you're like the face of the series, right? Between you, Zach, Parker, right? There's a lot of drivers, so much talent, within those 17 cars that are showing up on average each time. You talked a little bit about rentals. So before I get too far in that rabbit hole, I do want to honor Sheldon Lindlag. He jumped in and he did ask, and you don't know the exact price. So Sheldon, this may be ballpark. But do you, on average, what it might cost to get into a rental for a ride along, from Eric Hoffman or maybe another owner for a dwarf car?
I'll be honest with you. I know what it was almost 10 years ago, but I'm guessing that's different now. So I don't even want to say anything and get Eric in trouble. But when I did, I mean, it's really like compared to everything else, super, super affordable. So definitely start a conversation with Eric because you just never know.
Yep. So ballpark affordable. That's what it is. And
right.
And so Sheldon, we did have Eric Hoffman on a few weeks ago. I don't think he talked about the exact price, and maybe that's something you don't put online anyways, but that's something, Sheldon, if you reach out to Eric Hoffman directly through the dwarf series, he'll probably be able to answer. But since you're here, Matt, before I went down one rabbit hole, I thought, well, just in case you might have a rough idea.
No, for sure.
So now back to the rabbit hole, right? So with the MCR dwarf, right, you get to race at a lot of different tracks. How has that helped you then when you get into ARCA, where, especially for the broadcasters, they've done a really nice job, whether it's at Berlin's Flow or Flat Rock's Flow, where they're giving you a lot of shout out, right? Because these tracks like Flat Rock and Berlin, right? So how do you feel like the MCR dwarf prepared you for tracks that are like on ARCA, and the fact that you're at Daytona, I think, testing, and maybe you haven't done like a Daytona around here, but what makes it like even similar from a hot rod, like a dwarf, to then jumping into a big car like ARCA?
It is not. It really is just not similar, I'll tell you. But there's some things that you can take from each that are applicable. Getting the feel of the G-forces. The steering obviously is a lot quicker in the dwarf cars. You get those things sideways and you can just pull it right back and you're back going. Somebody could have a moment at the beginning of the corner and already be back up to speed on exit in the dwarf cars. Whereas with the ARCA cars, man, they're like they're kind of like boats and they take a little bit. They're super heavy, 3,500 pound race cars tend to, they got a lot of horsepower, but they're really heavy. So they take a minute to get going again once you have any kind of a mistake. So they're very different. But when you go to the different, at least when we race at the same tracks, like Flat Rock and like Berlin, the track character doesn't really change for the most part. That you can find the big bump off of turn 2 at Berlin. It doesn't matter. I still hit it every lap in the dwarf car anyway. Even when it was roast, I could feel it just killing the right rear tire, and I just kept hitting it in my first race there. And I was like, I gotta stop doing it. And then I finally did, but the right rear was already hot anyway. But yeah, and that's one thing that's here's one thing that's similar at Berlin, in the dwarfs and the ARCA car, the right rear tire gets really hot. It really does, and it gets really loose. So it's a lot of fun to slide around that place, no matter what kind of car you're in.
And then what was it like for your race move at Flat Rock, right? Where what's going through your head is all of a sudden you have a car right in front of you.
Explicitive, not good. Yeah, it's when we talk about budget earlier, that was not in the budget. I tell you. So yeah, that was not allowed to happen, and it was either going to be the sweet move or it was going to be the move that called it a career there, I think. So just glad we missed him by however many inches it was. And that wasn't even the first time we had a close one. At Berlin last year, I missed somebody by an inch and missed the wall by an inch. So we've had a few close ones. I prefer that those, yeah, we don't have any more close ones.
Buju, I think you're just getting ready to start saying before I asked about the move, thinking of Flat Rock. So go ahead.
So pardon my ignorance, Matt, but you mentioned that your dwarf car experience, you mentioned mini cups and now ARCA, obviously. Do you have experience in other cars outside of those classes, or?
Ironically, a front wheel drive is the only one.
Amen.
I've made approximately 2 laps before it blew up. So that's all I got.
Okay, I got you.
That's all.
The dwarf car straight to ARCA. It definitely seems like a hell of a challenge. And,
it was a jump. But I mean, one of those things that works out.
Like you said, if Xfinity or the O'Reilly series now comes calling, send it, brother.
Right. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. So, but I will tell you, I've a lot of sim racing experience probably helped with that jump too. We're very fortunate nowadays to have an awesome tool at at our fingertips. I don't necessarily approve of the tire model, but I think it's a fun deal, and it gets you pretty close.
Well, do you want to talk a little bit about that too? Because it was during the pandemic that you, Jaden, and I think a couple others, right, were creating all these virtual tracks in the area when we're all, literally last week, or was it 2 weeks ago now? Friday the 13th was exactly, that's a 6-year mark, because when Michigan shut down was Friday the 13th in 2020, right? And I think Indiana was slow, shortly before that or after that, but I know all the Midwest states kind of went around the same time frame. So, Friday the 13th is a big trigger for me, not because of Friday the 13th, but March Friday the 13th is man, that, that's when my day as a teacher changed and doing all these things. So if you want to give people a little bit of background in your virtual experience and one, how that pays off. Jaden has always kind of credited his virtual racing to just getting locked in at South Bend and just doing amazing there with his Outlaw. And people have asked him that. So if you want to say how you got into that virtual side, the building of tracks online and what that might look like, and then how you use that as a tool to improve your racing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack with the sim racing side of things, because I started out with that before I ever got into a real car. I got, for Christmas one year, my parents got me a wheel and pedals. It's a Logitech GT Driving Force, a legendary wheel. God bless its soul. The poor thing, it's dead now, but it was a great wheel for a long time. Had a lot of fun on iRacing. I was really bad at it first, because I didn't know how to make settings, I didn't know how to do any of it. So it went very poorly for a little while, but then it started to get better when I started to figure out how in the heck to do it. But since then, we've had a lot of fun. We ran the eNASCAR College Series. We ran an event with them just before I graduated college. And then actually this past month, I ran the MPI Challenge that MPI put on. So that was a lot of fun, being able to do that on the sim racing side of things. And then obviously in COVID, so I've had plenty of sim racing experience prior to this, but coming up to COVID, that was definitely an interesting time. We had iRacing and all the things, but we didn't have our local tracks on there. So we had NASCAR Racing 2003 season. I knew how to make tracks on there. Jaden figured out somehow how to make trackside objects. I didn't know how to do that part of it. So between the two of us, and credit to him, man, he did an awesome job with those events. The actual broadcast side of it, he did all the broadcasts and everything for that. got everybody in, made a studio in his house, and had himself, Tony Eldridge over there. I think everybody pretty much from South Bend, I think at the time, but it was an awesome deal we were able to put on, and expanded it to Kalamazoo Speedway. I think we built South Bend, the virtual South Bend Motor Speedway. So that was really cool. Long story short there, but really cool event. I think we had upwards of 5,000 people watching at one point, which is just crazy. And again, credit to Jaden on the broadcast side. I really couldn't. And happy birthday to Jaden, early birthday. It's his birthday on the 28th. So everybody wish him a happy birthday. But he did an awesome job with that event.
Well, and speaking of Jaden, I know he's helped you with a lot of your like designs and that kind of deal, doing your T-shirts for ELH detailing and that sort of deal. So since we're already on the Jaden topic and doing that, do you want to get a little bit into, before we get to your breaking news? You see how I'm doing that, like pushing it a little bit further. Who do you have to thank to, get you to the track and doing those kind of things? Because I know through through ARCA and Dwarfs, you've built a lot of partnerships. So if you want to give them shout outs and highlights and that kind of deal.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of start with Jaden. Jaden's done a ton to help me in my time racing. So can't thank him enough. Hoax Graphics, if you're looking for graphics designs for whatever it is, if you've got a local business and you just need signs for a truck or for your signage out front, if you've got a race car, Jaden does he loves race cars, so he does a lot of really awesome stuff for guys, helping them out and get their race cars looking good. So highly recommend Hoax Graphics. Make sure to check him out and give him some business this time of year. I know he's pretty busy, so if you got a car, I would give him a call and make sure you get in with him. But he does awesome work. Obviously, anytime you've seen logos on one of my ARCA cars, it's Hoax Graphics stickers. So he's done an awesome job for me. Made us look good a few times at the track, and continues to do so for folks all over the Midwest. So in terms of all my other partners, I've got so many folks to thank, especially ELH Detailing. Lewis, can't thank you enough for going and supporting him. I know Eddie. I went to high school with Eddie, actually, so that's how we knew each other, and actually went to him originally for the dwarf car stuff, and he's like, "Wow, this is like the best marketing stuff I've seen," and I was like, "That's pretty awesome to hear. I appreciate it," and whatnot. And so it kind of started off our partnership, and has obviously gone on for a few years. So if you're in the Southwest Michigan area, make sure to check out ELH Detailing. This is just my plug segment, I guess, Lewis, huh? I just plug everybody, but
plug everybody. It's like WWE Raw, like cheap plugs. You just they're not cheap, by the way. So they a lot, but this is plug time. So you just plug them all.
For sure. Well, and truly, like yourself, Lewis, in Top Row Racing Media, ultimately over the years, I mean, I can't say enough about how much you yourself have done for the short track scene. I mean, people don't give you enough credit, quite frankly, for all the things you're able to do. I remember the first time seeing one of your posts. I think you put me in a driver spotlight or something, and we didn't know each other at the time. And I was like, reading through it, I'm like, this guy knows a lot. Like, how in the world does he know so much? It just blew my mind. And then I started looking through, and it's like, it's not just me. It's like all these different. I'm like, how do you keep track of that? And to this day, I don't know how in the world you keep everything straight, how you remember all these different stories, but it's truly like a gift. And we're very fortunate in the Southwest Michigan and really Michigan racing community to have you around and to have you doing all the things you're doing. So truly can't thank you enough for helping us out with that. And you were a part of helping us get to Flat Rock last year. We made some waves. So truly can't thank you enough for that and for all you do in the state of Michigan. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to Top Row Racing Media on YouTube or like them on social media, make sure to drop them a like and a follow. But I actually just put a post out earlier tonight and I don't want to sit here and talk for 20 minutes, so my bad already. But I just put a post out earlier tonight about what I've been trying to build over the last decade, and trying to, build programs for different partners that fit their needs and genuinely have a return on investment, right? Because that's what partners need to to be able to have in order to justify a partnership at any level. So much less the corporate side of things. So that's where it gets really tough. But fortunately, there's a lot of opportunity out there. So as long as you market it correctly, there's a lot of great opportunities. But got a lot of great supporters that have come on and helped us through the years. I've got a lot of people who just personally, not even a business, who've come on board and helped us a lot to get us to places, and can't thank all those people enough. There's so many. I'm scared to name anymore because I just don't want to forget everybody, quite frankly. And it'll take me probably an hour either way. So we've got a lot of great opportunities this season, though. My recent post kind of goes over that. So if anybody out there would be interested, mattkempracing.com/partner-with-us. So it's a great opportunity, and we've got some exciting things on the horizon.
So you want to give that news now? It's the 8 o'clock hour, right? So, we've which technically we had Big Perm on a few minutes past your time slot starting. So, that's where you got a few minutes here to go, but so we put that mark where, because I know, people, and again, I appreciate all those kind words that you said. When I say plug them all, I wasn't expecting a plug for me, but I certainly appreciate that because it does mean a lot, right? But at the same time, right, this is, as I always tell people, I like it, doing this podcast. I'm on the face now. I never wanted to be like a host of a podcast. I wanted other people to do it, and I'll just like host it for them. But, I'm kind of enjoying it, and getting used to it. But I like when people think there's 10 of me running around, by the way. So, I heard that. Yeah.
I don't know how there's not, to be honest with you. I would believe it if someone told me there was.
I've heard some Joel LaRue, right? When I first met him, he said, well, there's 5 of you. And I went, me, it's like me. And he said, no, there's not. I haven't cloned myself yet. I haven't figured out how to scientifically or legally do that. So, haven't done that. But I know with that news, where I was going with that is, I know when I post, people think I'm on social media, but there's a difference between posting on social media and being on social media.
Right.
And I just,
For sure.
I'm not on. So when I get people, like on Saturday, I had someone send me 21 question marks after sending a message. I'm at a racetrack, by the way. So I'm not even checking, but I'm posting. So I think people think like I'm doing all these. No, I don't have management, helping me. Like I don't have time to look at messages when I'm at the racetrack. I have barely time to post who's at the racetrack, right? Because I'm balancing all these other things. But anyways, where I'm going with that, right, is I haven't been on social media. So I know you in a story you tease like news working on. So if you post anything, I have definitely missed it because I've not seen it. So if you want to unveil anything, break anything, now's the time to do it.
I appreciate it.
By the way, because maybe you can't do it all, but if you want to put the carrot out there for people.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. So I'll preface it a little bit by kind of after last year. Really, my primary goal for this upcoming year is I think we can race for a win at Flat Rock in the ARCA series, and at our budget, that's a tough thing to do. But after last year, especially, and I knew going into last year that we had a great opportunity to be able to do something there, but it was everything and more than I expected. So coming into this year, I think there's a very good opportunity for us to go out there and win a race. So gunning for that, and that's my primary goal. Still working on that race. If anybody wants to jump on board to help us try to win an ARCA race, we've still got opportunities there. But in addition to that, one of my dreams is to run the full ARCA East season. Flat Rock is part of the East season, and I don't have anything locked down for the whole season, but we are going to start it off at Hickory this upcoming weekend. So I'm excited to be down there, and we still need some partners to come on board and help us to get the rest of the way there, but we'll be there regardless and have some fun either way. And hopefully we can find the partners we need to make the rest of the season happen. Because like I said, that was always one of my favorite series growing up, and hopefully make it happen. We might be out by Rockingham, but we'll see what happens. We're going to try.
Now, is it, I might get this wrong, so please don't crucify me, but is that Fast Track Enterprises or whatever that name is?
Yep. We'll be racing with Fast Track with Andy's team.
Okay, I got that right. So I'm like, when I go to tag them, I never remember what it is, right? And I'm like, don't mess it up because you do the wrong thing, right? But Because I've certainly done that on social media a couple of times where I'm like, that's not what I wanted to tag. So, for people to jump onto an ARCA, you don't have to give exact specifics, but if you want to ballpark this, right? What does a weekend cost to run ARCA? Like if from the moment you park the trailer at the gate to get your pit passes and everything else to then getting in, what's an average, maybe not even average, what would be like a ballpark range of what it would cost you as a driver with the team that day and why sponsors are so important?
Yeah, well, I'll preface that with it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. And I'm trying to find the post actually real quickly because somebody posted I believe it was Club posted a breakdown of their costs
Yes.
to go out to Phoenix. And I think just for their 2 cars, their operating costs and, they're budget racers kind of like ourselves and just trying to make it through. And I think for the whole weekend, it was around $30-some thousand, 35,000, I want to say, just for their 2 cars. And, and they're working out of a shop, they don't have a garage. So obviously for teams working out of a garage who have employees and stuff on the pull down rigs and all the different tools you need to be competitive, obviously it gets even more expensive from that. But bottom dollar, I mean, working out of your garage and taking cars to the racetrack, and it's actually incredible what they do. But somewhere around there is pretty close for 2 cars if you wanted to get somewhere.
Yeah, but that's still, I mean, just for people to really understand, that's about the equivalent to what some racetracks pay in a person a night, right? Depending on the race, that might be what a winner gets, but
For sure.
but that just kind of gives people an understanding of like, it's not just pit passes, you're having to raise funds, to really do anything. And you're kind of in a program where if you're not raising funds, then you may not get that opportunity, right? Like you got to come with a bag full of money.
That's for sure.
And again, and that's where, I've said this before, I've even included in your spotlights. I just, that we're very lucky in this area where we have so many, what I call next level talent. You just see what they do, what they can do on a track, from an Austin Maynard or Logan Maynard, right? You can just see that next level, right? And now, certainly you in the dwarf cars that you've always been that next level where it's like, man, if you just get that opportunity, as you've proven, you've gotten those opportunities and you've proven that I can do this, right? Now it's getting you that further opportunity, right? That next door. So certainly, people go to the website, if you can help sponsor. I think last year you were even taking like $100 spots. Like it doesn't even have to be a, $10,000 are, checks are nice, and 15,000, 20,000, right? All that, right, are nice. But you kind of did like what some campaigns do. If you think of like local level campaigns, like in a political scene where like small dollar grassroots, like $100 here, $100 there, that in itself can add up too, if you get just enough people to do that.
No, it does, absolutely. And I do have a community support option on my website that kind of leads you to my PayPal.me. And if anybody does that for the upcoming weekend, we'll make sure to get your name on the car. $100 a spot pretty much is what those go for. But
yep.
Yeah.
And that's at Hickory, right? So that's
correct.
And
that's correct.
So you got a couple days to make that happen. So again, it was
yep.
MattKemp.com, right?
MattKemp.com/partner-with-us.
All right. Yeah. Those links, as a person who built my own website and doing all that, I've learned way more than I ever thought. I'm like, this is why people pay others to do it. I've enjoyed the experience because I'm like, that's another resume builder. But at the same time, I'm like, wow, I knew there's a lot to it, but there's a lot to it.
There definitely is. There definitely is.
And I've certainly messed up a couple times where I'm like, that page is not there anymore. What did I do? And I had to figure out what my brain did. And sometimes that in itself is a nightmare. But so again, that's awesome that you have that opportunity to go race that and do that and be a part of that. And I know Leah Dibble, she's been on in the chat a lot, and I know she's a huge fan of you. I've been working with ELH to create a partnership between us and Top Row, and I know we're working on that. And so I got a little bit of you and Eddie's background because I said, we are all helping each other, right? And I know he was impressed with your pamphlet, and I'm like, man, what I gave him to what I heard you gave him, I'm like, I need Matt to do this for me, like I need someone else to do that, right? Because don't have a marketing. I didn't go to school for marketing. I didn't go to school for social media, right? I've had to figure this all out by making mistakes along the way and doing that. I don't have that background. If you ask me about special education law and public law 94-142, I could tell you all that stuff, right? But that does not apply to racing, by the way. So, it does not do anything in this arena, but that's where all my college debt is. So, it's like one of those things that it's like even using the degree I have anymore. But again, I know we've kept you, even a little bit longer. I just appreciate you coming on, and I'm a big fan of yours. Buju, did you have any other questions for Matt before we get going?
I think we covered all. Have fun at Hickory this weekend, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
Congratulations on that opportunity. And let's just, as Leah always says, she wants to see her people grow. So I know she's rooting you along the way. And I know a lot of others. You have such a strong foundation that you've been able to build over the years. So again, good luck with that opportunity.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And I haven't said enough about Tim and Leah on this podcast, but that they have a significant part of my growth and development as well. I have worked at Hartford Speedway for 7-8 years as their scorer and different jobs while I was there. So shout out to Hartford Speedway. Make sure if you're in the area this summer, they got a World of Outlaws event. Make sure to get out to that and all their other events too. So big shout out to Leah and Tim and everybody over there. A lot of great people. And one more thing on the weekend upcoming. We do need some tire sponsors. So if there's anybody out there who wants us to go fast, we need some tires.
What does a tire cost for like an ARCA or average? I mean, I know what it costs on locally, and that's a big number, but
yeah, it's kind of it varies per track, but you're between 1,500 to, I mean, I'd say 1,500 to 2,000 a set is pretty average. Some of the bigger tracks you can get a little more than that, but yeah, that's pretty standard.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, it's crazy.
You know how many street stock features that pays? Like a winner.
Exactly, for sure. That
pays a couple. So I know Drew's in here. He's playing with the comments thing, but as you can tell, Buju, I do not play with the comments thing. I was up, but I don't have time to press all those buttons. But anyway, so again, thank you so much, Matt, for joining us tonight. Again, I know I'm a huge fan of you, watching you from South Bend going on up. So just take on all these opportunities because you more than deserve them. So just definitely good luck.
I appreciate it, guys. And thanks so much again for having me. It's a pleasure, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Oh, no, absolutely. Well, it sounds like after you win at Flat Rock this year, we need to make that happen, right? So
I like the sound of that.
I know that's your main goal, but obviously with Hickory coming up and all that, maybe bring you on and be like, how's that going? Right. Like, cause that's incredible to have that experience. So
we'll see how it goes.
Fast, right? That's all you can do. Turn left, go fast, and see what happens.
We're gonna hope for some carnage to help us out here, and we're gonna have to miss it all,
or put on a really good show while you're doing it.
Hey, we're gonna do our best.
So again, if people want to follow along, I know we forgot to do the social media shout out. Matt Kemp Racing on Facebook is the other place that they can go to follow along to see what you're doing. So not only mattkempracing.com for all that stuff, but Matt Kemp Racing also on Facebook too. So and you still have your YouTube channel, I believe, too, right?
I do indeed, and I finally broke down and got me a TikTok earlier this year, so we're on there as well.
I've still not quite embraced TikTok, but
it took me a few years. I said if it's around at the new year, I guess I'll get it.
Yes, yeah, it is. It has survived.
Apparently, there's a lot of people on there because I've been on there. I'm like, oh, everybody's here. That's where everybody's at.
It's number 4 in social media. Facebook obviously is 1 and 2 are Facebook, YouTube, Meta with Instagram is 3, and then TikTok is 4. At least that was the last ranking I saw. It might have changed by now, but yeah, that I'm not huge on TikTok just yet. But once the season comes, I might have to really embrace it again. But like, I'm already doing enough. I gotta man.
I hear that.
I need like 4 other people, so I got to work on that too. So again, Matt, we'll let you get going because I know we've kept you for a long time, but I just appreciate you again. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much. Y'all have a good night.
Yep. You too. All right. We'll bring on Drew while we have Matt exit stage left. So again, Drew, I know we're just a little bit behind, but I wanted to get, Matt, all of his breaking news and now we have some Enduro conversation that we can talk about. So welcome to Monday Night Rewind. If you want to talk a little bit about the Enduro.
No, absolutely. Appreciate Bujo jumping in again today. I thought I was going to get a 45-minute break. Then I got an email from my banquet center that just put about another 4 hours of work on me. But hey, it's all good. Anyway, great effort for the fans that showed up. We had over 300 fans in the stands, just a little over 300. Great back gate. The car count was about where it needed to be. We would always like to see more cars, but we kind of took a step backwards with our big car, bringing that in, and kind of we were open and honest and just said we're kind of not tossing the rule book out, but just trying to get cars there to make it entertaining. It was very entertaining. It was a good effort. Now that we got the driver's attention, that we've done it twice, we have a direction we want to go, and we'll be announcing that soon with it. I guess I'll tell you, it'll be more along the lines of an old school enduro car, a Night of Destruction car, in lieu of, I don't want to call them full race cars because it's not fair, because they do participate in the Night of Destructions. They had a little bit more bars and stuff like that. We are very thankful that Richard Goki and Jeff Paracels, or Gerald Paracels, came down from Corrigan Oil. They brought 3 or 4 extra cars with them. For a 12-car, 100-lap race, it was pretty entertaining. There was a couple lead changes. Mike Ely actually went a lap down. The truck found himself in a little trouble with 10 to go, and Mike was able to get his lap back when that incident happened. You can see it on Top Row Racing Media. Nothing malicious. It just happened. I mean, there was a group of 4 or 5 cars that were even speed, and, as a racer, when you know somebody's 4 or 5 lap down, probably should have just let him go, but he didn't. He put on a show for our fans, because it's easy to say for a racer not to say that. A guy that retired 20 years and never was good at racing. So I don't have that competitive drive that a race car driver is. So that's why in a race saver, I'll never tell a driver to stop racing, even if they're 20 laps down or 5 laps down, because that's not the right thing to do. But I guess as a guy that would like to win a race in his lifetime, which will probably never happen, I probably would have let them go, and let's see them the next 30 laps down the road when they caught me again, if they did or if they didn't. But the big car race was pretty entertaining, because not many people will know. This is well before Buju, well before Lewis was in the racing area. We used to have a class called the factory stocks at Kalamazoo, the old Detroit Iron. These are the Monte Carlos. This is where the Mike Zordons, the Steve Castor lines. We actually had one of those cars that hasn't been on the racetrack in 20 years with the same identical paint job, the 020 of Larry Carfield.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude was from Decatur, Michigan. He raced back in the Mark Starr days, the Bobby Jones days at Kalamazoo Speedway. Then when Hartford flipped over to dirt when it reopened, I think he highlighted some races there before that car just came up MIA. Well, I saw a picture of it last year, and it was supposed to end up at one of our Hartford Enduros, and it's almost too nice to be in it. But Dan Williams did a nice job in it. Mike Ely, Turdowski, Richard Goki, the Price family had Ryan Price, I believe, had a car in it. There's a lot of Hartford influences and a lot of East Side. I want to say there was a hair in the race as well too. It was nice to see them there. They brought 2 cars, but overall it was a very successful day. Nick Senior and Caleb Genema did a great job in tech. And I'll publicly say it right here. We had the Cavi King, the guy that has built cavies for a living, raced the fastest cavies on dirt, and Nick Genema, and nobody's going to get anything by him with a cavi. So I can tell you the 423, as much as those social media warriors that weren't even at the racetrack want to bitch about it. That guy's been racing enduros longer than Buju's been alive, probably Lewis as well too. Corey Michaels was racing full full-size enduros over at Flat Rock, and when those kind of died out, he came into this. He's won a lot of them. He intentionally starts in the back because he knows he's going to be up front. The guy knows how to build a cabbie. The shocks were legal. They were stock. The springs were legal. So for you to sit there and say, oh, that guy knows how to, it was a gut and go car. I'm not giving everybody secrets out. But if there was somebody that was going to catch him, that he was doing something illegal, it would have been Nick Genema. Nick Genema, if you don't know who Nick Genema is a multi-time Midwest Dirt champion. He's probably won the most sport compact races in Southwest Michigan by any time. Him and his dad know how to build those cars before they switched over to Hondas. So I'm going to put that right to rest right now because it's not fair to Corey. It's not fair to Nick when you see those. And it hasn't been too many. He's just a damn good driver. He builds damn good enduro cars, and that is a gut and go enduro car. And I'm sure he would let anybody look at it. So
he won Bad Santa, I believe, at Kalamazoo, and that might be the same car. I didn't look at back pictures to prove it to anybody, but I feel like it's at least similar. He's had that number. He won at Plymouth. He won the Fools Enduro. That was 2024. I want to say it was like the first Enduro that they did there, and I was able to make that. That was Melissa Keys when they did that the first time, and that they had a break. They did 100 laps, a break, and then the second 100 laps went green the whole time. There was no cautions, no reds, no anything. Where the first part had Rich Bull got blasted in the backside in that race and everything. Because that's the first time my onboard cameras made it. But Corey won that and did, just an incredible job there too. So, again, that's as we were talking earlier offline. Sometimes with social media, I tell people it just it gets really exhausting. And I know Dan's in here. He's been a huge supporter. I was supposed to have an onboard with him, but by the time I figured out what car he was in and I got through everything, I didn't have time to get over there. So I feel super awful for that because he was going to have one just because he's been a huge supporter since my time at Hartford and would love to get me back at Hartford. He's always commenting, asking, when are you coming back? When can you come back? But, for Corey, I know, like, I've watched him race at other times, but that's where social media can be exhausting. And I tell people, who ask me as I manage, I'm like, I stay off of it. Every now and then there's a hill that I'm willing to die on and get in the comments and just be like a little chihuahua and nip, but the other times not worth it. It just is not right. It doesn't go anywhere and it just makes it worse. So I tell people after 24 hours, somebody politically is going to do something dumb and people will forget about it by then. Usually it's 24, maybe 48 hours, depending on how juicy it was. But I haven't seen anything about it today. So people already forgot about it and moved on to the next thing. But it's so frustrating because people don't deserve that.
And to be fair, it was only one or two people, but I just wanted to come out I don't think they were at the Enduro. Two, I know for a fact they weren't racing, so they don't have a dog in the fight. But at the end of the day, I will stand behind my tech guys, my entire team, and I'm going to tell you, if there was somebody that knows anything about pushing the envelopes or the gray areas, it is a multi-track champion from I-96 Speedway, Thunderbird Raceway, Mid-Michigan, wherever he's raced, Midwest Compacts. I don't know how many feature wins he had, plus the knowledge of his dad that's been back from the ASA days and the late model days, crewing with those guys at Kalamazoo and Berlin. They know what they're looking for. Again, I'm not going to give all the secrets out because it's not fair. But at the end of the day, it was a gut and go car that met our rules with a cage in it. So congratulations to Corey. Congratulations to Mike Ely. Congratulations to Dan Williams on a top 5 finish. Matt Whelan from Ohio finished second. He had a good run. Had some water or fuel issues or just a safety issue, or he might have been up there for the win because he was pretty fast too in that big car race. But overall, we're very happy. Johnny and I talked for a little bit after the Enduro. We're very happy with the direction of the little car race, and the key word is we said race, not demolition derby. There's very little red flags in it, And we want people to be comfortable now that their cars are not going to get wrecked. They're not going to get intentionally wrecked. We can still put on a very entertaining race. There will be times that turn 3 gets jammed up, and it'll be very exciting for the fans. But, talking to my tech team and some of my other staff members, they didn't feel that there wasn't any car in that little car race that wasn't repairable. There might be one or two, but out of 37 cars that started that race, they felt that a majority of them that were on the trailer and didn't finish could be repaired. And that's what we've been striving for with these Enduros. Johnny and I think we're a good team for these Enduros with Nick. And we can't forget Brock. Brock has put a lot of effort into these as well, too. I don't want to leave him out in that conversation. Brock has done a good job laying the foundation with this. But I think Brock wants to race more in these Enduros. So, for him racing, we'll probably have to have Nick do the teching with it. But again, Johnny and Bill want to see the 80 and 100 cars, which I would too. But at the end of the day, if we can get these up to 50 cars and maybe 25 or 30 in the big cars, we're going to have a good winter ticket where we can do a fall one, a midwinter one, and a spring one, where these can be successful. And you see the comments of Dale McGann in here. This is what we do it for. It gives it, Dale McGann, Sheldon Lindlag, there's several that were running in the top 5 that were happy. It's not about the money. If anything we want to do, if we can grow the car counts and grow the stands, I'd be more than happy to pay the top 25. And that's a goal of Johnny and mine. But as for the $1,000 to win, you can look elsewhere to see those $5,000-$10,000 to win Enduros. We've done that. Corey Michaels loves them because he'll show up and win $5,000 about 30, probably 75% of the time. He would probably show up and win one of those races. But at the end of the day, the $1,000 to win, I think, is where we need to be. And I think getting at least the next goal would be paying the top 15. And then if we can start growing it from there, maybe 20, 25. But at the end of the day, the track's got to be able to make, this is a business, the track and Great Lakes Racing Promotions. We're not going to hide it. It has to make a little money. We're not looking to make millions of dollars, but we definitely don't want to go in the hole. But that's another conversation on another business day. But we just wanted to say thank you to all the Enduro guys. Congratulations to everybody. 49 total cars. Granted, we have probably the nicest day of March, other than the tornado week we had where we had 7-degree weather, but we'll take 63 and sunny versus having bad storms any day. And I don't think anybody should complain about 300 people for a March race and 50 race cars. So just wanted to say thank you to everybody that supported that from the staff. There's too many staff members. We'll give Taylor Sexton a shout out. Taylor, M40 Taylor, I call him. So we had 2 Taylors, the safety crew, Tyler McGann, the Genemas, the front office, Tina Lewis. But I know I'm missing a lot of people, Bubba, but it was a team effort between both organizations that made it happen. And it was two races, 250 laps, and it was done in 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Excuse me, I mean, cough. It came out of nowhere. Well, and even edited down, it was an hour 19, start to finish, for both races. So, I mean, really, when you think about, 210, you had conversion time between big car or small cars and big cars and getting them lined up and all that. Because with M40, they all got to go in and out the same way where they were parked. So you can't just have too many cars like Chicago traffic, got to give respect. But, so if you take that out, and then there's just 2 really big red flag moments, Brad West, put on a show on the front stretch with his car and the big car. And then I know there was one in the small car that was, pretty big. But other than that, so you add up that time and you 2 hours, 10 minutes, edited down an hour 19, start to finish, 200 laps. 250 laps. That's not bad at all.
No. And like I said, I think we have a positive that there's never a given in anything, but I think with conversations with Johnny, I think you're pretty confident to see 3 of them next winter. I don't know if they'll all be at M40. My guess is that would probably be where we're looking. But at the end of the day, we got something positive going, and we're on the same page as the rules and where we want these cars to be. And we got a lot of leadership. You look at it, you had Illinois, Ohio, Owasso, Indiana, Michigan, combination of a 5-hour radius from all the way around. There was drivers I've never seen before, but from Ohio. There were guys from Ohio that are good people, like Eric Johnson and Matt Whelan. The Grundy guys that came, Matthew Rex, and a few other cars from that way. We even had a car that looked like it was on skate. I almost tried to steal the transmission out of the car for my car. It was a Nissan Altima. It already ran a 200 or 100 lap down race in Florida, and I looked at it and I said, "There's not even a damn scratch on it when he pulled on there." Well, I think it's got a few scratches on it. And the fact that he survived a 110 car race with no scratch comes to ours, and I feel bad he's got a scratch on it now. I think it's in one of Lewis's videos. I think he's the one that spun and hit the turn 3 wall. I think he kept on going.
Yeah. I had my cameras were around the track were very busy. I haven't even posted them all yet. That's where there are a lot of things on the extra cameras where, you even even talked about like the race change, the big car race. Watching it from the tower, I thought I saw it a certain way, but when you watch the backstretch view, you just see it a completely different way. So again, that's where sometimes no one on social media ran with that one, but sometimes you see that in like real racing, and not that enduro racing is not real racing. So let me correct that. But in outlaw racing,
cancel Lewis right now.
Yeah, I've been in trouble for that before. You don't get yourself mixed up in that.
$40,000 cars, $50,000 cars, street stock races, that kind of deal, right? People take race incidences and run with them, and it's like, well, here's an angle that shows what happened, right? It's just sometimes you don't have the angle at that moment. And think of NASCAR. They have how many hundreds of cameras around property, and they can still not get things. So it's like, you just how that backstretch view just kind of showed what happened, because I wondered, right? I thought I kind of saw something, but when you watch the backstretch, you see it differently.
I will be very honest. I had some it was nice to have Taylor Section there, because I got to spend the first half of the race, first 100 laps in the infield pits with those guys. And it's good for the competitors to see me, because they don't get to see me anytime, because usually I'm in the office getting the payout ready or taking tickets. We had a full staff. It was nice. And then the second half of the race, the big car race, I was able to be up top, and Johnny was able to go somewhere else. I left with about 15 laps to go, 20 laps to go get the employee envelopes, make sure they were full, and the results down there so Tina could get the payout started. And I told Taylor, I said, I'm very apprehensive of leaving. I said, I have a feeling something's going to happen. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was, because just how hard those lap cars were racing with the leader, I just had a bad feeling something was going to happen there. And everybody behaved. Everybody did their job. But you should have, when I was sitting next to Tina, I hear, "Oh no, your race leader's on the wall." And I hear, "Man, I shouldn't have left," because I'm probably getting an earful. But it made it entertaining with his hood up for the final 10 laps and Mike Ely to get around him. And, we're thankful for Mr. Goki coming down, and sorry he had a bad time, but hopefully he had not bad time, but had bad luck. But he made it entertaining for the fans. And like I said, I would have rather him been racing hard with those lap cars, because it might not have been as entertaining for the race fans for that 12-car race.
Oh no, that was fun to watch. So that's just, I said it on Saturday when we had our debriefing. Is, I as a videographer, right, I get to watch it a couple times, because I get to watch it while I'm videoing, and then I get to watch it while I'm editing, and then I got to watch it one more time once it was all done edited, and I find them really entertaining at M40, and I thought everyone did just a really nice job of racing. It reminds me of the Illinois Enduros that I grew up with, and so that's where the one and only that I participated in, the Bad Santa Fe years ago, where it still had that Night of Destruction mentality. It was even called Night of Destruction in Enduros at the time, right? Like, and like this, just everyone's just crashing, right? Where now it's like racing. It's out there. They're racing, they're putting it out on the line and enjoying and competing. And so, again, kudos to all the drivers. I know a bunch of people said that they want to come back and plan to come back. I have seen a lot of those comments on social media. So, again, it's a very small team. I don't think a lot of people realize how small the team it is that organizes all this and brings it together. But that's kudos to you for providing those opportunities. And luckily, I know drivers are at least coming, and the fact that you can get drivers from all around the region too. On top of that, and again, we want to come back, including some people who had bad luck. They're like, when's the next one, right? So I think again that just kind of shows what's being built. And huge kudos to M40, right? I know Jason, excuse me, Johnny and Bill, they're incredibly behind the effort, and they're just hearing Johnny and his thoughts and listening to him. It's like, there's so much potential there. So again, huge kudos to them. Kudos to you for pulling it together and offering those opportunities. And that's all you can do, right? Opportunities, and it's up to people to do something with it.
No, it's a team effort. We do truly want a team to be able to do it. There's no it's no Andy Jack putting this together. It's no M40 being behind it. If you noticed it, we take a half of the M40 squad and throw 3 or 4 of my people in there, and it just Tina Lewis, sitting in the office, she didn't get to watch the races at all, but talking to her on Sunday, she goes, I had a great time. And she didn't get to watch the races, and that's just she liked the office staff she was working with the M40 group. And then for everybody to get along, Taylor, I met him at the first Enduro. He's been there all summer. I think he just started last year. He's a jack of all trades for him. He can flag, he can announce, he can be their infield pit steward, he can be the race director. There was no yelling, screaming, or you're wrong. They were working together between Tyler McGann, Taylor, and Taylor. I never once had to get on the radio and say nothing or overrule them, or not that I would do that, but at the end of the day, it was, hey, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is what I think. Hey, Johnny, what do you think? I agree with you, Andy. Or they say, hey, Johnny, what would you think about this? Taylor and Taylor. Hey, Andy, what do you think? And we're on the same page. And that's the difference. It's a team effort. We want the Davis family to be able to build a car or two to come out and race the Enduro and not have worries that they're going to waste $1,000 and have a tin can going home. We want the Underdog Racing to feel comfortable with building a car. And James Binkley, I shout out to them. They were, all of them were there. So you're hitting me with a question. He's definitely not running with the 4 cylinders because he's a rear-wheel drive car, I believe. He got away with it last year. Dan, that's just an honest answer. But again, it's in conversation with the drivers. I don't have an answer for you right now, but I would say he should be allowed to run in the big cars if he's a rear-wheel drive car. But again, that's where the drivers, like Mr. Price sent me a message today. We're on the same page with what he said. We want this to be not a full-blown street stock coming down to race. We want it to be the old Monte Carlos, the trucks type. And I'm not a tech guy. I just say honest answer. You're barking not barking, but you're talking to the wrong guy that knows absolutely nothing about that side of the fence. And every time he opens his mouth, he gets himself in trouble with his tech guy. So talk to Johnny and talk to Nick.
Well, and that's kind of that team, right? And so to honor what Christopher Harry put in, Chris from Hartford, he now is kind of their trade.
Okay, I see what he's saying now. Yes, you don't need him on.
When everyone's behind, the same goal, right? And that's where Jay Freed, a quote that I pulled from him in 2024 is when he told it to me at South Bend, where he said, we're all in it together alone. And so I've kind of converted that to individually, we can do our parts for the collective, right? We're all in this together. We're all in it for short track racing. We're all in it, but we have to do our own individual parts. So that's kind of how I've taken his quote that he gave me. Because for photographers, sitting in the infield can be very lonely. Just like a videographer sitting on the roof could be very lonely, where I'm like, well, I can talk to myself and I already do enough of that. So, but it's those individual parts.
I look at myself as a promoter. I don't look at myself as a tech guy. I look at my job is to come up with the ideas to entertain race fans and put butts in the seats. And then I need to surround myself with teams that can fill in the rest that I'm not strong at, like Johnny. He absolutely, if you look at what they do on a weekly basis at M40 for tech, they're fair. And they will send their points leader home if he's not legal. And that's what we need. And Nick is the same way. So I think I'm really good in other assets, but when I start, I don't want to say I don't ever mingle in that, but when I don't have the resources, then that's when things kind of scary start to happen where, oh my gosh, we got a monster truck showing up to race and Drew said it was okay. And, Bigfoot's running over the field. And so, but that's my point. That's why we have a team. So with that, so Buju, did you get to see any highlights of the Enduro?
I saw that hit on the front stretch. That looked pretty nasty. I'm glad he was okay.
You come from a racing family. Am I wrong? I want to give you some opportunity here because I run my mouth a lot here. So
you're all good, man.
No, what Enduro racing. What are some of your thoughts on it? You come from a racing family. You've been around this a long time. You've seen the South Bend Night of Destructions and all the Enduros in the area.
So I haven't been to a ton of true Enduros, but as you mentioned, the holdup for our shop has always been worried about building a car, going out there and get shredded in 8 laps, and then your Enduro career is over with. So hearing and seeing with the highlights that I did see, how clean the racing is up there is definitely a big encouragement for guys that are thinking about dipping their toe into Enduro racing, myself included. So.
No, and we want the Mike Ely's, the Dan Williams, the people that aren't even racing with us that are truly interested in it to give their opinions on it because we want it to grow. I mean, I would love to see 100 cars. Don't get me wrong, but I think the magic number is 50, so that we don't have those destroyed race cars and because things are going to happen, especially when you get dealt bad weather. But I think we're on the right page, and I think we always do very well at our Enduros at Hartford, and that's a different strategy there. That's more of a night of destruction vehicle there because we can get away with a lot more on dirt because Tim likes to take his water bill to a new level when we have an Enduro there, and some guys like it when it's we never know if it's going to be a swamp mess in there or if it's going to be a racy track for Enduro. And that's the way to keep the speeds down. The reason why we do take a break is if the speeds are getting too fast, we bill it as a fuel stop, but it's more or less to control the speeds of the race. Because we want to keep people safe because, you always hear about safety. If you control the environment, you can make cars safe with less money being spent in safety. Absolutely, I'd encourage a guy to put a full cage in his car in a race seat. Just because you're doing that doesn't make it not a gut and go race car. It doesn't make it not an Enduro car. But also for the guy that wants to just put a door bar on it, good seat, safe car, I'm okay with that. But we got to control the speeds. When we have a 37 car race on dry pavement, the speeds are going to be pretty intense. So we're, it's kind of the catch-22 where we're at, where guys don't want to put cages in a disposable car, which I get, but we still have to keep this safety and economical all in one. So.
Yeah, well, speaking of economics, I know coming up for you that I want to make sure I click the right thing here. You do have to plug that really quick. Since that's kind of almost coming, save the date for April 11th, Russell's M40 Speedway. Know that showed you're excited about. So, we don't have to be done with the Enduro conversation, but since we're kind of on that topic of economics and that sort of deal, I know this is a big, with spring weather, it's a big gamble for tracks in the month of April and sometimes, quite frankly, in the month of May. I mean, just look at last year, Kalamazoo every other week. Hartford just got annihilated, and they already run so few shows to begin with that. 1 or 2 rain events is already squeezing, but they had like all rain events. So if you want to talk about April 11th at Russell's M40, since that is drawing a lot closer,
Yes. So actually, one of the things I was working on while you guys were on the podcast, and thank you, Buju, for being a part of this team. I think we're gonna all make a great team with this. I was working on the Crown Vic payout, and I don't want to pay $1 million because that's not what we're trying to accomplish here. But we want to create a special payout for the factory Fords at M40 and get a little bit closer to the Hartford. I'm not going to put this on paper yet, but this is official. I will let you know since we got Dan Williams and Mike Ely in here. And we want to see the Hartford guys. I am going to pay $400, which is going to match the Hartford payout to win. $200 for second, $150, $125, $100, $90. Actually, I'm sorry. It is $400, $200, $150, $125. Then I think it goes $120, $115, $110, $105, and $100 to start. So we did bump that start money up to $100. Then we'll talk about the front wheel drives. It is open to if you fit the Midwest Compact rules. So I'm going to speak English here on how Andy Jack can understand this. If you are legal for M40 Speedway, you are more than likely legal for Midwest Compacts if you do one thing. If you change your tires to a 200 DOT tire. Mm-hmm. And before you say, well, Andy said I was legal on the podcast. There's a nice guy, longtime racer. Buju knows him, and his family knows him. His name is Scott Rich. He's our tech guy for the Midwest Dirt guys. Find him on Facebook, send him a note, and I bet you'll be legal to race. There's a very good possibility we could see 40 compacts for that. So it's $500 to win, $100 to start. I'm going back and forth on the format out of it. So I'm going to push that we're probably running a dirt format where your heat races mean something, where you're going to have to qualify through the A through your heats. And the reason why we want to do that is because we want our racers that are the dirt guys that might not be asphalt guys to have a legitimate chance to make the race. You're saying, well, you might get a guy that gets a pill draw that will end up starting up. Well, that's just dirt racing. That's what happens. If Dan Rigoni or Matt Elzy end up on the pole, it's just how it happens. So that way, my dirt regulars who never been on asphalt, who might be 18th quick, have a real chance of making the race. And I got to talk to my dirt team on this, but I think that's where we're going. You're always on vacation, Derek. But at the end of the day, so that's where we're at. We do have the Ohio Wheelman Series talking to Mr. Will yesterday. He's very confident that he's got about 13 or 14 guys coming from Ohio. Plus, you're going to mix in Cody Lawler, Tyler Hufford, and a few others. So they're confident they're going to have 16 to 20 cars. I would say probably 12 to 15 Crown Vics and realistically 30 to 35 compacts, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were more. And they do have the Ohio Wheelman Juice Box Series, which is a radio flyer go-kart. What's the red wagon called? You know, as a kid. It's a
radio flyer. You got it right, yeah.
That's what they are. They are a radio flyer go-kart. Has to be completely stock. You can put a racing body on it. And they are going to take some kids out of the stands to participate in this. And the really cool thing is they have families that are not even street stock owners, but have fallen in love with this Juice Rock series. He said he's probably got about 5 or 6 kids coming to race that are not even, with racing families. And there's a lot of families that do have it. So, you bring a kid to this event, there's a very good opportunity that they don't know how they're going to do it yet, but they're going to pull a couple of kids out of the stands. And just announced today, yes, I do everything from pro wrestling to lawnmower racing. We're going to have the lawnmowers join us as well, too. So this should be a lot of fun. Sheldon, all you got to do is message them. I'm sure they'll work with you within reason. So we'd love to have both of your cars, and I know Dave Bonestad said he would pull one of your cars up there probably because I think they're bringing their compacts too. So, but But if I guess I would certainly encourage you to reach out to the Ohio Wheelman Series if you have a street stock. I do know you will have to purchase their tires to race, but maybe they'll have some test tires or practice tires they can toss to your way. If you don't want to buy new tires, just talk to Will. Will is a great guy. Will wants you to know what the Wheelman Series is about, so he's going to do what he can to get the local races to part. He's got to take care of his guys. He's got to follow his rules. But if there's something he can work with you on, or I know we'll do that.
All right. Well, other than that, I was doing a couple of things. I want to do a reminder just for like a show recap. South Bend Auto Show. I've been running that banner again towards this latter part. Again, this Saturday and Sunday at the Century Center downtown South Bend. Again, Kalamazoo Speedway will be there with Bryce Bozell, Tyler Hufford, Carter Trudgeon, Drew Ritter, Donnie Ritter will be there with Drew. And then we have Mason Metcher will be there as part of our group. I know M40 will be there. I know New Paris will have representation there. I know Rich Bowles Outlaw will be there. I don't know other drivers from that group, but that's coming up, $10. We had Big Perm on earlier who talked all about that. So if people are just joining now, miss Big Perm from U93, which is the radio station that does the auto show, and one of the radio stations of the whole station. I think it's Artistic Studios is the whole group. They he was on earlier from 7:05 to about 7:32. So the first half hour of the show was Big Perm. So certainly you can go back and listen to all that.
I wish I could perm my hair
afterwards. And then I want to do one more reminder too for not only your show, but with that coming up, Kalamazoo Speedway. Sorry, Drew, I'm cutting off your face for the moment. It's like the mask. We have April 11th at Kalamazoo Speedway, which I know that's two things in one day, but some people might be able to get some shakedown at Kalamazoo and get some notes there before they head over to Russell's M40 Speedway. Worst case, come and watch at Russell's, if anything. Even if you're not going to race, you can still come watch as a fan, support the show. So it's April 11th. So I know the month in preview, I know Kalamazoo has a meet and greet April 4th at Joe Schmo's in Kalamazoo, where drivers will be able to do registration for the track. They'll also have assistance for like registering on My Race Pass to create a driver profile. So there's a lot going on for that meet and greet. And that's from 2 to 4, right, at Joe Schmo's?
2 to 5.
2 to 5, which is before they open. So they're not open at that time, but Kalamazoo will have primary time.
There will be a full menu and bar. Everybody is welcome to be there, from a race fan to a driver. They do open at 4 o'clock, so their senior citizen customers will be joining us at 4, I was told. But so do all your partying between 2 and 5 and be respectful to their guests at between 4 and 5.
So again, I know that's coming up. So we're getting to it. There's a lot now on the horizon. So this save the date stuff is going to start filling up. Next week I'll start advertising the Intimidator 100 because that's going to be knocking on our door with April being that first week. So again, that's going on. So one thing I do want to remind people too is, help us share this out, so people can see not only information for the South Bend Auto Show, but we had an amazing interview, Buju, with Matt Kemp and his career and his breaking news, which I know is also on his social media now. I just saw it when I was doing something while Drew was talking. I'm like, I got to check something because Motor Madness is still going on. I'm in my Elite 8 right now. So, I was checking that, because I try to screenshot the results right at that time so I can forward the bracket. So just a lot. We're getting into the wind down of that. And so it's almost race season. It's almost here. So again, help share out, drop comments. If you want to be a guest, let me know. We have New Paris Speedway next week will join us, Chris and Tracy. I do have an open slot. They could run the whole show because I know there's a lot to talk about with New Paris coming up. But, if there's a guest or someone who's interested in being a guest, and I'm already starting to book in April. You can also let Drew know. Buju, you can let Buju know if you want to be on, and we try to do 2 slots a night, 7:05 and 7:30, and we tonight we stuck pretty close.
Yeah, that's the best we've done for sure.
Until I got on here and started running my mouth.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, Andy's the one that ran over. We did fine, Lewis.
there's a lot to cover. I mean, this weekend we had a lot going on. So,
Yeah.
And I know we kept Matt a little longer too. So, Drew was about 5 minutes behind, 10 minutes behind. But
to be fair, I was 2 minutes late.
Just that too, but that's okay. That gave us time to do some shout outs. So, again, all the support each episode has gotten, really great views for us. And that's what it's about, is getting the exposure for all these people. I think I tell people I don't make enough money to fluff anybody. Matt is a next level driver, so I'm excited for him and his opportunities. I wish he'd get more. I'm not going to get into personal thoughts because this is not the platform to do that. But my fan side and personal side in that sense for Matt is he deserves those opportunities, and there are other drivers in our area who deserve that too. Or did you have something?
I came out of this a Matt Kemp fan. I mean, I've seen him race in the MCR dwarf cars a lot, but I think he came off really well in the interview.
The first time I ever met Matt was when he was racing mini cups. Kyle Trinkline was his crew chief, Flipper. Yeah. Flipper and I decided to go to an adult establishment, and Matt, 13 or 14 years old, was not old enough to go to that adult establishment. To this day, his dad entrusted me and Kyle to watch Matt for the day until he got down the following day for the race, which I think was a mistake. So, Lewis, that's how the Night of Destruction. What was that race name I created for that at Kalamazoo? The moving flagpole race. That was born just outside of Anderson Speedway. And if you know what's outside of Anderson Speedway in the parking lot, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's where that race was born.
Okay. Well, that's a huge hit at the Night of Destruction. I mean, between that and Pac-Man, which I fully have promoted, I stole that from New Paris. I mean,
I've known Matt since he was a kid and watched him grow up, watched him evolve at Hartford Speedway, now getting to watch him evolve as a race car driver and Lane Automotive, where he was a very big part of the safety summit. He's I can't call him a kid anymore, but he's a good guy. He works hard for everything he's got.
Yep, and he's gained a lot of respect from a lot of people. So certainly a big fan of his, and hope for more opportunities for him. So again, tonight's episode was packed. We had in that 1 hour about 8:12. So from about 7:05 to 8:12 between Southland Auto Show and Matt Kemp, we had a really really incredible episode. So again, I definitely appreciate everyone who's watched, who's tuned in. This is why we created this. Was an opportunity to just offer one more way to get people a platform to talk about their season, talk about their career, talk about their different things. So each episode is just built on from the previous. So again, thank you to everyone who sticks around. I know, Chris Harry, Leah Dibble, Dan Williams, Sheldon was on tonight. Dale McGann, that was fun to watch him race the other day at the Enduro, right? And Harry White, we've just had so many people who have been on. Kenzie Epping, middle mini wedge racer. We've had so many people who have come each week to watch episodes. And I know I'm missing people, and I don't mean to do that on purpose, but that's why I'm the videographer. I just record this, but I do watch, who is watching and comments, and so I definitely appreciate all that. Just remember, I know we're almost at 2 hours here, so wow. But
yep, I am going to take one quick thing though, because I do know there's some guys watching that do support us. I did find out about 7 o'clock when I opened up my National Compact email. Anybody coming to the banquet has to sign a waiver, and unfortunately, they're all closed right now. So I don't have an answer to why. If it's just for the go-kart portion of it, if you're racing. So if you are coming to the National Compact Midwest Compact Touring Banquet, and I have not reached out to you in the last hour, please send me a note. I'll send you a link to that registration for the waiver. It's nothing bad. It's nothing horrible. They did not make us do that last year, but I think it's just for the go-karts. But just to be safe, please fill it out. And if you need that link, message me and I'll send it to you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, this is a chance to get that out there, right? Because it's still a few days ahead. But once this episode is done and downloaded, I'll put it on Spotify. So right now, obviously, we're live on National Compact's page, Top Row Racing Media, YouTube, and Facebook. But this will go on Spotify. So if you know anyone who's not on social media, They can get it for free on Spotify, which is the video version, and then Spotify converts it to an audio version automatically to iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. I'll be honest, I don't pay attention to the metrics because I don't care about the metrics in this case because it's not there, so I don't know how many views we're getting on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or iHeartRadio. I know when I get on Spotify, I see how many views we're getting because that's where I go. I don't go beyond that. So, but definitely those channels are out there, and it's under Monday Nights Rewind. That's what it's named under, or Top Row Racing Media. Either way, you can find it. So it usually takes a little bit for those to update once I get it on Spotify, but it's usually out there. So if you know someone who wants the video version, it's on YouTube, or which I think most people have access to, again, or Spotify if they have a subscription. But other than that, audio version, put it on the car while you're driving, and listen to it. So again, we're now at exactly 2 hours. So anything else for the group, or anything else we need to get out there before we wrap up?
I did want to mention real quick that if you wanted to watch Matt Kemp's ARCA race this weekend at Hickory, it's at 7:30 and it's free on the NASCAR channel, which is on Roku and Prime Video, and also on Flow Racing. So if you wanted to watch Matt this weekend at Hickory after the South Bend Auto Show, there's your opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, and I'll be sure to share that, so that way people can go and watch and see what he does. Again, I hope he gets more opportunities. I won't go further than that because then I'll get on a soapbox. That's not worth it. But again, thank you, Buju, for jumping on and joining.
Thank you.
I know we have our Thursday Night Throttle that we're going to be launching here shortly. It's just we're still organizing what that's going to look like and putting some thoughts together. So that'll be coming up, and that'll be a preview for the weekend. We don't quite have the format exact, but we have an idea of what we want it to look like. So I kind of put it in Buju's hands to kind of figure out what that's going to look like, and that I'm not married to any format. So so a lot of the setup will be from his brain. And other than that, Drew, again, thank you for joining and coming on, talk about the Enduro, talk about Russell's M40, and covering all that and sticking around with us, and anyone who's stuck around for the whole 2 hours and 1 minute.
One last thing. There was some late breaking news about Thunderbird Raceway yesterday.
Yes. And
I'm going to speak a promoter point here for the 10 people that are watching this, and I hope people come back and watch this. I don't think any shame should be thrown over at the current owner of Thunderbird Raceway. I think you better watch what you're doing with how you're treating the current owner and the owner leasee of it, because there's a lot more to this story that you don't know, that you aren't privy to, in regards to what's going on. And I have the utmost respect for Heidi. I have the utmost respect for Tom. But at the end of the day, there was 6 months given on that, and that track can be sold to anybody. So at the end of the day, I would encourage you to, if you don't want to lose another racetrack, I would encourage you to stop posting breaking news without having a source. I would encourage you to stop throwing hate at Heidi. I would stop, it's a situation that is trying to be worked through, and it's not a good situation. I have respect for both sides. If you want to keep it a racetrack, keep it classy, and that's all I'm going to say on that.
That's kind of like with that right to race, which I know passed in the House in Michigan. So I did see that, and it's now working its way through the Senate. But one of the messaging points that I did with that is when you're going to contact people, and like I saw Kendall, she posted what she did and how she emailed, very respectful, right? I know other people told stories about what a racetrack means. We just gotta. I always tell people, if you only knew 2% of some things, that would already be overwhelming in some ways. And so, obviously, with situations, what tracks go through, what different people go through, social media is not the place to just air all that out and do all those things, or even speculate. And I think sometimes that's what does hurt, especially, you look at Bradenton, motorsport, that's done, right? Ohio lost, I think, like 6 tracks in one winter, and that's going out the door. It was Norton Raceway, I believe, but that's it's now going to be a mulch business. And so they're auctioning everything. It's done. It's gone. It's not coming back. Right. So we got to be very respectful. And I know in social media, it's very easy to say things that are opinion and talk like it's fact. But, unless you really have ABCs and 1, 2, 3s lined up, it's opinion. And it comes from.
While I was not on the podcast, I talked directly to a source that would be involved with that. And that's why it's important for those comments to be followed. So
just be respectful at the end of the day.
Show support for Thunderbird Raceway. Show it you want it to be a racetrack, and be respectful to the current owner, the name on the lease or whatever you want to call it.
Yep. So sometimes that's where we just need to do better. That's why I don't get on social media a lot. I just do what I need to do and I get off of it pretty quickly because I don't have the energy for it. So the top row requires a lot of energy. And so personal Lewis side does not require as much to scroll through. So it's a lot easier to not do it. So anyways, again, thank you guys for 2 hours and 5 minutes of your time. So we'll be online shortly on Spotify. But other than that, Chris and Tracy next week, New Paris. We can always fill in with more people coming up. I need people for April. So if you know anybody, reach out. Myself on Top Row's page, email media@toprowracingmedia.com. And we'll get you scheduled. 7:05 or 7:30 are the slots that we go with. So right now April's open. There's other than photographers, I have Kendall and Fastlane. Oh my gosh, this is not the time to draw a blank on Fastlane images. Buju,
Chelsea.
Thank you, Landis. Oh my goodness gracious.
She's gonna beat you
I
up.
had to do the double check, make sure that was Chelsea in my head. I said, "Is Chelsea Fastlane?"
It is.
It is, yeah.
Any other damn time I would have got that right away, but whatever. At least I got the name. The business.
2 hours in.
Yeah. and I have not taken a drink of anything yet, so that's also a thing. But that's where I'm going to, they're going to be on for an episode just to talk about media and how they are creative and all that kind of deal.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep. So a little something different. So between Kendall, I think Sabrina might be a part of that, and Chelsea, they'll do that. So that'll be in April at some point. But other than that, we kind of have an open schedule right now. So definitely reach out. You see, we try to keep it fun and light and just informative for people to put names to faces. They might know a name from the stand. They might hear, like Matt Kemp and the number 5, but they may have never seen his face before. So this is just an avenue to get out there, thank sponsors, that kind of deal. So, Drew, any last words for the night?
No, I think I've talked for 45 minutes.
This is like a staff meeting. If you raised your hand and said one more thing, I might have given you the teacher look again. But but no, it's all important information though, and obviously waiver. We need to get that out there because that's crucial to do that. Buju, thank you for all your time tonight.
Sure.
I know I'll probably see you next Monday, as I told you. Just plan to be here until you're told not to be.
All right, I'm moving in. Hey.
Yeah. And then again, guys, so much coming up. South Bend Auto Show. Please support it. Be there. It's $10, $5 if you're 65 or older, $5 if you have military ID, free if you're 12 and under. It's more than worth the time and more than worth the cars are there. So just feet in building is what we're looking to, and beautiful weather. So until then, turn left, go fast, and enjoy the weather that is coming up this week. It's supposed to be nice, I think, from last I saw. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes,
We'll
sir. See you at the races.
Yep. See you at the races.